Welcome to this WordPress Essentials session. I'm Jason Hawkins and I'm going to take you through how to publish a post. So the ins and outs of the things you would do on a day-to-day basis to get a post out to the public on your website. So we're going to start with a Word document, pull the content out and inject that into my WordPress post and format it and take you through different elements of that post. So we're going to look at headings, paragraphs, formatting a list, images, videos, links, documents, using two-column layouts, using the Gutenberg editor, and then finally publishing that post. So it's a very, very practical one-off sesh. If you're going to check this one out, this is the one to check because it's actually a really, really practical guide to take you through that process in a really fast way. So enjoy. I've created a little mini article in Word. It's using Lorem Ipsum text, but it's got an image and some headlines and a second heading, some dot points and all that sort of thing. So let's see how WordPress deals with that and when we're adding a post or a news item. Traditionally, this is the editor that you would normally use to publish a post. It has the title, the permalink here, and we'd move into this standard big open block space. This is the traditional editor, and as of version 5 we've moved into the Gutenberg editor, which is a block-based system. How does that differ and why are we doing this? It makes it a lot more flexible for adjusting to responsive devices more easily with your content and positioning parts of your content. In the old days, if we wanted to make two columns or do specific positioning, we would normally have to write a bit of code or use short codes in here, which makes it a pretty awkward editing tool. So Gutenberg is trying to address some of that. Some of it does really well, others have got a little way to go, but hey, let's have a look. So I'm going to switch over now to the Gutenberg editor, the block editor. So let's do that. I'm going to go to posts. And I'm going to create a new post. So you just use the standard create new post button here. And of note here is that there's no real visual editor block in place. However, there is. So this is our title of the page and it becomes the permalink or the heading of the page, the H1. So is my article. So I create, if I type right, and this is the first paragraph. So what you can see now, if I hit enter, it's going to create a whole new block. Even though that block is just a paragraph, it's a block nonetheless. So you can work your way down the page creating blocks. Now, how that differs from the old way is I can now edit this paragraph block using the tools on the right hand side. So my text sizes I can easily just adjust at a level at the block. I can go in and add a background color if I like, and it changes the foreground color of the text straight away. I can do my positioning here. I can also select this text, make it bold, italics, all that sort of standard stuff you would do with a standard piece of content, but you have a little bit more control. If I wanted to add a block rather than even just hitting edit, I can use the tools up here and then insert various types of content, such as a list or images, or create a heading on its own or a file, and then our genius columns here, which I'll show you in a little bit. Say we're in here, you can also convert this to list items. So this is pretty cool, easy to create list. To remove this block, I just select the 3 dots and go remove block, yeah? And the same applies to all these. So I am going to remove these blocks and it goes back to the default settings. So let's go over to Word and say this is what I would normally do on a day-to-day basis if I'm working. I've got this news post to publish, so I'm just going to go over to Word and cut and paste it. So I'm clicking into the first block and I'm going to paste the content. So it actually does quite a good job of getting that content from Word straight in. It obviously doesn't do the image. The image can be a drag and drop here if I like. I can just drag that onto there and bring the image across. I can adjust the image size in this window as well, and I can justify the positioning or the wrapping of the text around that image quite easily as well. It just does some really nice editing tools, positioning tools, a little bit better in my mind than the old editor. So again, I haven't touched any code, so it's quite easy to manipulate. I'm just getting rid of these spaces here that it's added. So one of the cool things about Gutenberg is, I mentioned before, I can add some column text. So see here, I'm just going to select some of this content here, and I can add 2 separate columns there, nice and easy, and it'll maintain its positioning and wrapping without an issue. That is so much harder in the older editor than it is in Gutenberg. That is really genius. So I wanted to link this text here to an external website. So I'm going to link through to Google. Might need 3 W's and a dot. And I'm going to apply that. So that's as easy as that is there. I can also edit that link and go, hey, open that in a new tab, which, you know, best practice really if you are linking to an external site. Say I wanted to link to a document. It's a very common thing we do in WordPress when we're publishing posts, maybe downloading a PDF, for example. I can choose a block, a file block, and go to my media library. I've already uploaded one, so I can use that. I can change the title. This is the new title of my PDF download. And it comes with a download button as well. So like most of these blocks, our options are over here on this right hand side. I can remove that download button and I am good to go on that. So I wanted to move this up further in the content to make it more relevant. It's a simple case of just using these up and down arrows to position that in the right spot. That's also really, really easy. In the past, you'd have to dig into the code to cut and paste and make sure you were moving the right stuff around. So the only other thing which is really handy is also editing and adding video. So I'm going to add a YouTube block here, and I'll go and get my link to my video, come back, paste that in, and embed. So how easy is that? Again, I'd love to move this to up further in the content. I'm going to move it right up the top as an intro, and I'm pretty much ready to go. Within a few minutes, I've got my article in the space. I've got my blocks sorted. I've done some a little bit more layout with 2 columns. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Let's go, and I'm going to save a draft first, and then I'm going to preview this to see how we go. So here's my article. Nice. 2 columns here, dot points, my image. So let's see how this actually collapses into responsive. So here's our 2 columns, goes to single column, nice wrapping, all looked after inside. And this is the beauty of the editor. It's looking after our responsiveness that the old editor was never able to do. So lastly, when we go to publish this, it's a simple case of, if we're ready to go, we would hit publish. It's giving me a last minute check to go, am I ready to make it public or private? Do I want to password protect it? I can put some dates on when I release it or backdate it if I needed to. And a suggestion is to say, hey, add some tags. So I haven't got into any detail around SEO for this. You would use Yoast or an SEO plugin to add some additions. But you can add some additional tags there as well on that article. And we're pretty much all good to go. It's a case of just hitting publish and it's now live. There's our link. It's created the permalink with the heading. You can change that at any time if you wanted to, but better off changing that in the process. So one more thing. I say I wanted to see the detail of this article. It gives you the number of words, headings, paragraph structure, and if it's a nice long article, I can see how my heading depth is laid out and I can navigate through and make the changes that I needed to make. So that's Gutenberg Editor in a nutshell and working with posts. Hopefully this has cleared up how to work with Gutenberg and how good it can actually be.